Hey there friends, Dave Paulides, Can-Am Missing Project, copyrighted edition for our video channel. Thanks for being here. This is kind of a somber recording for me. I'm going to talk to you about two events. One, an update on trucker David Schultz, and a second, another trucker that disappeared. We'll talk about both those. But what really hits me hard is what happened in Charlotte yesterday. And I know you're going to see this a couple days later, but 4 law enforcement officers were killed. And let me explain to you something. That the U.S. Marshals Special Task Force that they have in various cities across the U.S. are designed to go after the worst of the worst. And they were going after a man that was wanted for gun violations, felon in possession of a firearm, evading, fleeing other officers. They knew this man was dangerous. Well, the reality is that these task force teams sometimes daily have to go and make arrests for people like this. And it's a very hard thing to keep your level of safety at a 10 every day you go out looking for these people. So I was on the SWAT team, and narcotics, vice, these other units would call us to make the entry on search warrants on these high-risk individuals. And maybe we would do it once every couple weeks. And it's okay. That's fine, because then you get psyched up, ready to go, and you go in. With these guys and ladies on these special task forces, they have to do it daily. It gets to be so repetitive. It is very hard to keep your level up at a 10 to know what you're facing. And these guys went in and they faced somebody who was serious and killed 4 officers, marshals and officers. And I was really sad yesterday, really sad, because of the number of officers that are being shot today in the United States is disgusting. And when I was in police work, we averaged between 100 and 200 every year that were shot and killed. And I think that right now, for some reason, things have changed. There's no respect in a lot of areas for law enforcement. Many people don't see the value in law enforcement, and they see law enforcement as a threat. I see it completely different. The people I worked with, they were there to serve you. They were there to help you. And these men that were killed yesterday, they were helping you. They were trying to get somebody off the street that was extremely dangerous. And what I think about is the families of these 4 men. Because life will never be the same for them. Yeah, it took my breath away. I had to go take a walk by myself for a while. So I prayed for them last night. And they'll be in my prayers for the next many days, them and their family. Now let's talk about David Schultz. David, that name is important to me. A trucker out of Iowa, a really, really good family man, had twin boys. He drove local, had his own truck, and he was carrying piglets in Sac County, Iowa. His truck was found at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, parked on the side of a rural highway, 2-lane highway, in the middle of agricultural fields. And I don't do this often, but I'm going to read the article here, and then we're going to discuss it as we go along because it is extremely important. Nearly the week after the body of David Schultz was discovered in a field less than a mile, this is what the article says, less than a mile from where his abandoned red and white striped Peterbilt with a loaded trailer of pigs was located in Sac County, Iowa, his family has more questions than answers. The Wall Lake, Iowa man's widow, Sarah Schultz, says she's relieved that Dave's body has been found. But she and other family members still don't know how he died and why it took 155 days for the 53-year-old's body to be found in an area that had been heavily searched after he was reported missing November 21st, 2023. This is in Freight Waves News, April 30th, 2024. It's good that he was found. At least we know where he is, and we can be at ease with that, even though we don't know what happened, said Sarah Schultz. I've been dreading this day, but I'm relieved it's over. It's exhausting to wonder and wait every time a body is found to find out if it's Dave. I feel exhausted. Yeah. Sarah said she received a call Wednesday from Sac County Sheriff Ken McClure that someone had reported finding a body in a field. She confirmed the boots and the truck keys found at the scene belonged to her husband. On Thursday, the Iowa Office of the State Medical Examiner conducted an autopsy and identified Dave by his dental records. Daryl Simmons, special agent in charge of the Iowa Department of Safety, said investigators don't suspect foul play based on the initial autopsy, but it may take up to 6 weeks before histology and toxicology reports are completed. Quote, once the final autopsy report comes back, I want to sit down with the medical examiner and go over everything and make sure that we are confident in what we are going to release at that point in time. End of quotes. Simons told Freightways. We will probably never understand everything that happened, but when we get more information back from the autopsy lab results, we can hopefully get some idea of what led up to this or what might have happened. A couple of things. They won't, in most instances, test for GHB. I get that. But the other problem with this is that it's been so long since he died that there's an excellent chance there's no GHB in the body. It comes out of the body, whereas alcohol does not come out of the body. If you have 0.10% blood alcohol in your system when you die, it's going to be there a month later when they test. GHB is different. It comes out rapidly. Now, for people who haven't listened a lot to me, the body makes GHB in minute amounts. I've talked to other researchers who think that somehow, somewhere, someone's found how to turn that valve on inside of us and overwhelm us with GHB, knowing that the body is going to get rid of it even after death. It's very strange. So I have no idea if they're going to test for that. But the special agent for Iowa said an interesting thing. He says we may never know exactly what happened here. We may not ever know. Go on. A mysterious disappearance. Sarah said she last saw her husband alive about 7 p.m. on November 20th after he stopped by the house to change clothes before heading out to pick up a Seaboard Foods loads of 120 pigs near Elk Grove, Iowa. Seaboard Foods is the third largest pig producer in the U.S. and the fourth leading pork processor. It has farm operations in Iowa, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and Colorado, according to its website. However, authorities say Dave never arrived for his midnight appointment at the site, where he was supposed to offload the pigs at the Weichman Pig Company buying station in Sac City, Iowa. Weichman's office is in Fremont, Nebraska, and it has 16 locations in the Midwest, including 6 buying stations in Iowa. Around 3 p.m. on November 21st, a Sac County secondary road employee reported seeing Dave's custom rig in the northbound lane of County Road N14, but no Dave. The rig was facing the opposite direction of the buying station where Dave was scheduled to arrive with his load of pigs. In the cab of his truck, investigators found his wallet, including his driver's license, cell phone, $2,000 in cash, which Sarah confirmed he had in his wallet earlier. His coat was in a nearby ditch. After the rig was found, law enforcement searched the immediate area on foot with a canine, according to the December 9th press release by McClure. The Sac County Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the Iowa State Patrol Air Wing, McClure said in a release. An airplane was dispatched from Iowa City that was equipped with forward-looking infrared. A state pilot flew over the surrounding area and did not detect a heat signature that would be consistent with a person. For the next 2 days, law enforcement, area firefighters, and volunteers expanded the ground search with the use of drones. Nothing of significant value was located. Bang! That's what I was looking for that hadn't been released. The flyover by FLIR right after he disappeared. I know this for a fact because I've flown in craft with FLIR. When you're flying over an area and you're looking at a FLIR screen and you see a body laying in a field, it sticks out. Everything else in the field is one color, but this body will stick out because it's warm. Dave's body didn't stick out. Why? Because it wasn't there. Data point 1 was the FLIR. Data point 2, they bring a canine. They have his coat. They have his truck. His odor's all over that truck. They put the dog on the scent trail. They don't find any. He's not there. Data point 2. Then for multiple days, they put out hundreds of people through the fields searching in a grid pattern. He's not there. Data point 3. He's found within a mile of the truck. That is very close in search and rescue worlds. To not find him at that point solidifies in my mind he wasn't there. Now, everyone who's involved in this, in their own mind, knows he wasn't there. But you always go to what you know. And in the world of law enforcement, they're thinking, well, he was kidnapped from the truck. And then, for some reason, he was placed back in the field right close to where he disappeared. So they're thinking foul play, traditional foul play, kidnapping, torture, try to get something out of him, make him pay a price for what he did. But there's one huge problem. Huge. The coroner says there's no violence to the body. They can't find any foul play. They say there's no foul play. So folks, that's the coroner. He's not going to lie. There's nothing to the body. So why did he die? Well, we don't know right now. Let's go on. So before we go, remember, they found $2,000 in his wallet in his truck. Now, some of you are going to say, oh, maybe he's doing drugs. Or No. Many truck drivers carry a large amount of cash for multiple reasons. First of all, to fill a tank on one of those trucks is a whole lot of money. And many of the truck drivers don't like to use a credit card. They pay in cash. And his wife knew he was carrying all that cash for that same reason. So don't extrapolate that meant anything at all. Dave was a straight arrow guy. He had no demons in his background. He was a trucker trying to do right by his family. The Sac County Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the Iowa State Patrol Wing. They flew over the area. Nothing was found. Extremely important. Investigators obtained video footage showing Dave at 11:15 p.m. on November 21st at marker 126 Travel Center east of Fort Dodge, Iowa on U.S. Highway 20. According to the press release, Dave was there for 16 minutes. Let's stop. So, I travel cross country all the time. I stop in one of these big gas stations, go in, use the restroom, make myself a coffee, get a soda, get some walk around, see what kind of snacks they have, figure out, and pay for it. 16 minutes, totally normal, 100% normal. He is then seen on a Department of Transportation camera on Highway 20 west of the truck stop, heading west. This was the last time David was seen, McClure said. Cell phone data obtained from Schultz's phone corroborates this timeline. Aiding in the search were members of a nonprofit search and rescue group called the United Cajun Navy, led by Jake Rowley, the organization's Midwest team leader. Along with countless volunteers, they searched over 100,000 acres in the area where the tractor trailer was found, but without success. Sarah said she is convinced something happened at the truck stop because when the big rig was found, it was facing the wrong direction and the headlight and flashers were off. Dave wouldn't have done that, she said, because a vehicle traveling on that part of the highway could have been struck in the back in the dark. I still believe he was taken because I talked to people who searched the field and said there's no way in hell they could have missed him, Sarah said. I agree with Sarah. Simmons declined to comment further until autopsy results are available. Time marches on. In the 5 months since Dave was first reported missing, Sarah said she has tried to stay strong for the couple's 10-year-old twin boys, Isaac and Joseph. Pray for those two boys who have been in grief counseling since their dad went missing. I can't even. Ten years old, such a sensitive age. So important to have a dad. Quote, I never believed that Dave had taken off and left us to start a new life. Anybody that knew Dave knew he wouldn't do that, Sarah said. He wouldn't have left me or the boys. I don't believe he did. I think Sarah's right. He was a good soul. Prior to Dave's disappearance, he had recently purchased a bright yellow Peterbilt big rig and was fixing it up. Sarah said the truck has since been sold. The red and white Peterbilt that Dave was driving on the night he went missing is also for sale, but needs a little work, she said. I'm hoping it will sell soon because Dave didn't have life insurance, Sarah said. He was in good shape. He could outrun a 10-year-old boy. We didn't count on him dying so young. Sarah's cousin, Ramey Uren, has set up a GoFundMe campaign to help the family's financial expenses. No date has been set for his funeral, as Sarah said she wants to ensure that Dave's family is included in the planning. I have a meeting on Tuesday after I drop the kids off at school, she said. I know Dave's brother will be there and hopefully his parents will be there too to start the arrangements and picking things out for the service. I never planned a funeral before, but I'm still trying to make sense of why this happened and what happened. Folks, David Schultz's case started something. It started a 15-part series I did on missing truckers. 15 different segments about missing truckers. Watch it. There's much more to this than we think. Dave was a small man in stature, thin. He was in good shape, like Sarah said. Schultz, the last name, German. This is where my mind always goes. Where has that body been for 5 months? Important point that wasn't discussed widely, but was reported. When they found Dave's body, his pants were pulled down to his knees, and his shirt was pulled up to his top of his chest. What the heck is that? I've told you before that a lot of our cases, the people are found without clothes, or missing clothes, or missing shoes. It almost sounds as though someone tried to rapidly put the clothes on Dave and didn't finish. They said he had underwear on. It seems like an impossible series of coincidences in my mind. A lot of people have sent me messages and said, oh, you know what, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Maybe. I don't think so. I've been doing this now for 10 years. This has all of the inclinations of my work. Several of you have said, well, why don't you contact the Schultz family? I've been told many times, not to interfere with families that are in the middle of a crisis. The Schultz family is in the middle of a crisis right now. The head of the Cajun Navy is taking a predominant role in this, and I don't want to get in his way. He doesn't know me. I'm just a yahoo out there making some wild claims, I guess some people would say. And I'll let this take its course. There's also been rumors that Sarah was looking for a secondary autopsy location, even though that article didn't say it. A couple days ago, there was an article saying that the family was looking in Kansas City for a second autopsy because they didn't believe the first autopsy said that there was no foul play. This is a tough one, folks. Very tough. There's kids involved, a wife, a man who owned his own business. Now the family is left with no income. It's horrible. But why David Schultz? I have a lot of thoughts about why that truck was in that position that it was. The question I have is, did he see something out there in that field? I don't know. I agree with Sarah that it's odd that he would leave the truck, get out of the truck, and not leave the flashers on. That's very odd. But friends, on the opposite side of the roadway from where David parked his truck, in the ditch, they found his coat. That is very odd. And there were people that said that that truck had been there for hours, many hours. So at dark, he stopped. At dark, somehow, some way, he was taken out of that truck. And that coat was taken off. But why? I said before that when you get in a fight and you're wearing loose clothing and the perpetrator's fighting with you, they may pull that coat right off of you. So I'd be interested to know if it was inside out and how it laid there. They haven't stated. I think about this case all the time. You're in my prayers, Dave and Sarah and the boys. Now, as this is going on, in Canada, they have a very similar event happening. Somerstown, Ontario. Search efforts are still underway for a missing long-haul trucker named Brian Lush, 51 years old, who was last heard of last Wednesday afternoon. This is an article on April 29th. SDG OPP released an updated statement on Monday asking the public for any dash cam, trail cam video footage that could possibly assist in the investigation. They're asking drivers and hunters to check for potentially relevant video in efforts to locate a missing person. Begins the statement. Quote, investigators want to hear from motorists who have dash cam video from Highway 401 westbound in the Boundary Road area near Cornwall, Ontario, from April 25th between 10:30 a.m. and noon. An individual partially matching Brian's description had been reported along the highway at that time, but could not be located when officers arrived. The OPP is asking hunters and others with trail cameras in the South Glengarry, South Stormont, and Cornwall area to check for any possible sightings. I know we have viewers in that area, so please pay attention. Over the weekend, the OPP continued their search of the area with a helicopter and remote piloted aerial system, drone. The emergency response team, canine units, and members of Ontario Search and Rescue Volunteer Association have also been conducting searches of the area. We appreciate offers of assistance from the public, but untrained civilians can actually interfere with our work, contaminating potential scent trails that our canines could not track and interfere with possible evidence or signs that could lead us to locate Brian, reads Monday morning statement. That's crap. That's absolute crap. This is what gets me ticked off about some search and rescue groups. Oh, we're so good we can't allow citizens in. Hey, tell them. If you see something unusual, don't touch it. You stay in a group, you stay in this area. Don't go outside that area. It really irritates me. What are search and rescue personnel? They're people like you and me who just have specialized training. If you came to search an area I wanted you to search, we'd have a 15-minute talk. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is where you go. This is what you don't go. Garbage. Lush is described as 5'11", 200 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a blue hoodie, jeans, and possibly a baseball cap. Lush was last seen entering a Petro Pass gas stop on County Road 27 in Somerstown Station at Highway 401 on Wednesday. His family said he went to the store, made a purchase, but hasn't been seen since. His truck, along with his cell phone inside, was left at the truck stop. This can't be still happening. Please keep praying. Please keep sharing. Let's bring my father home to the family who needs him, said Lush's daughter, Chloe White, on social media on Monday. The Ontario Provincial Police is asking drivers and hunters to check for potentially relevant video. Now, let me show you where this is happening because it's important. This is the Canada-US line. US, New York. Canada-US line. Kingston, Ontario. This is where the truck was found, Somerstown Station. I know this area super well. There's a large cluster of missing people right here. Another missing people right here. And there's a giant water body that extends from Montreal all the way to Lake Ontario. And he disappears right next to that. Plattsburgh, Lake Placid. Just so you know. Got it? Now this is the missing person poster that was put out on Brian by the OPP. Get that ingrained in your brain. Let's remember something. If we learn anything about the missing truckers segments I did, many of the truckers had amnesia. And they were found in areas hundreds of miles away under extremely unusual circumstances. There was another case that involved a firefighter from Canada that came down to New York with friends to ski at a ski area. He suddenly disappeared. He wakes up in his mind, and I did a segment about this, he wakes up in his mind in a truck, a big rig truck, traveling on Interstate 80 between Reno and Sacramento, going westbound towards Sacramento. He sort of wakes up. He's still wearing all the ski gear. Trucker drops him off in Sacramento. He starts to get his mind back, and he calls his wife, I don't know how I got here, but this is where I am. What is going on? It seems as though the amnesia is real. There's no doubt in my mind. Too many cases But what is imparting that amnesia? Some doctors say, oh, it's a medical condition. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But the amnesia is temporary. And it blocks a specific period of time for some reason. Now, in Brian's case, very similar to David's, they both walked away from their truck. Or they both left their truck somehow. Now, in Brian's case, he was driving a moving truck, and he had already dropped his load and he was heading back. From what I could tell, the truck was empty. David's case, small pigs. And they were still on the truck, and none were missing. Do me a great big favor, folks. Please share this video far and wide. Everyone needs to know what's happening here. And I think about Dave's kids, those two boys, 10 years old. Such a sensitive age. They needed him. They needed him. Trust me, I've gone through grief counseling. It didn't help me a lot. I'm praying it helps these boys. Paulides out.